Hello and welcome back to Get Even. This is Bio Enchanted and today we're doing one of the more interesting levels of the early game. This level's got a lot of interesting visuals going on and I quite like the way it's put together. We'll see that as we go through it though. First of all, apparently we're here to help someone.
Jesus man, get your hands off. No need for any of this.
Shut up, move!
Let's see where they were going, shall we? Because nowhere else to go right now.
Wait, I know this place. This is where the explosion happened.
Ah yes, your mind is preoccupied with the explosion, Mr. Black. The Pandora can only process what your brain offers. Concentrate only on the memory at hand.
I am trying.
Then try harder.
No worries, Chief.
I quite
Glad to be aboard. Not a hair on our head. Trust me. You brought me here. Fuck you.
Red? Hey, Red! What the hell is this? None of this makes any sense.
You are here because you have formed a mental link between this man and the explosion. The Pandora is trying to decode the messages your mind is sending. Focus.
I quite like just how deranged this part of the level is. It's a really kind of interesting way for having Black's...
The Pandora unit is offering you a pathway deeper into your memory. Pursue this. Focus and proceed.
Having Black's obsessions and personal stakes in this completely start overcrowding his actual perceptions. That's an interesting idea. I quite like the way the game does it. Apparently this seems relevant though.
Remember, Mr. Black, human memory is unreliable at the best of times. I need you to work with my technology, not against it. Take in your surroundings and get as much information as you can.
Yeah, something this game knows very well is that memories are incredibly malleable. All it takes is the wrong word by some cop that's not thinking what he's saying, and all of a sudden you have a witness that thinks they've seen something when they actually haven't, because they can convince themselves so perfectly of what they thought they saw. Memory is a very, very dangerous thing to play with, and these characters playing with it in this way is very dangerous.
Police crime scene detected. Multiple homicide. Attending officers Fair and Chadwick.
But Red's aware of that.
What are we looking at?
Multiple homicide. No IDs. I will warn you though, Chief. Fucking stinks in there.
Well, then it's a good job I skipped breakfast. Come on.
What the hell happened here?
Fair and Chadwick are kind of weird characters. We'll go into that a little bit later, but...
Potential murder weapon identified.
What do we think? Drug deal?
I don't know, Chief. You seen the weapons they were carrying? This looks high-end.
Yeah, right. International drug deal.
They've got a lot of stuff in here, haven't we? Nothing useful though. Not quite yet. Surely one of these has to have something of interest. Besides a nice musical cue. I do like the crescendo it makes, so that's a neat kind of a thing.
Identification unconfirmed.
Wow, look at that. His entire face. There goes any dental match.
Shot off his hands too. His fingerprints are a bust. Professional job.
Shit, this many stiffs and no ID. We can link this to 100 cases.
So, drug deal it is then. What do you reckon? Adam's family or one of my Turner's lot?
Well, don't worry, decide later. Get the uniforms to bag it all. I'm getting a little peckish. There's that new cafe opened up next to the Nick. You fancy it?
Red, what is this?
You are trying to process too much, Mr. Black. The Pandora cannot keep up. Concentrate only on the man you came here to find.
I quite like the visual here as well of all the victims of the warehouse murders from the actual drug deals and everything like that coming forth and confusing the issue.
Pandora will do the rest.
I think that's what it's supposed to be anyway.
Identification confirmed. Jasper Prado. Status deceased.
There's me thinking we could sort this out like adults. If you're gonna do it, then at least look me in the fucking eye!
So, we have a name then. Jasper Prado.
Boy, here's the keys, you'll drive it.
Come on, Shoes. Why have I always got to drive?
Rang, son, rang.
What now? How do I know this?
You don't. The Pandora is cross-referencing your memory with any police files in the database. This memory is breaking down. You must move on.
That's certainly interesting that the Pandora can cross-reference and build from there. Certainly makes sense. We've seen a lot of stuff that we shouldn't have been able to see in this level specifically. I'm guessing the Fair and Chadwick stuff was probably compiled from police reports. Conversation may have been a kind of simulation based on what was likely to have been said. Based off behavioural things, past performance in other cases, that kind of thing. Psychological profiles. Pandora's a fairly complicated and ingenious bit of hardware. It can do a lot of stuff. And quite get to all this, like the evidence around the crime scene, and everything as well, like a lot of relatively irrelevant stuff for the overall scheme of things, but for this particular crime, it's very important they all get backed and tagged. Certainly the hows don't matter to us, but they matter to them.
This place again.
Yes. Your mind is definitely throwing up some kind of link between this Jasper Prado and the explosion. I'm surprised it's this pronounced, though. As if something is bothering you.
This is a pretty cool visual as well. I quite like coming back to this room, but it's slightly different each time. It's an interesting way of keeping it fresh and keeping it from feeling like they're just recycling assets, because it feels like they're actually doing something with it. Like with the whole conspiracy web along the ceiling, that's a really cool thing. Of course, there's another note here as well. These two notes are really easy to miss because of the way they're kind of hidden around the rest of the web. You kind of have to notice that they're hanging a bit lower than the rest of it. It can be very easily to miss them because of how much brighter the exit photo is. Especially because the photo's right over the chair, so it's kind of the focal point of the entire room, which is pretty good design overall. I like this laid on top of the too late hallucination from earlier as well. That's a cool kind of way of... They just keep building on this scene.
Black! For God's sake, hurry! I'm trapped. You can stop this.
My readings indicate that you've engaged with an earlier point in the memory. Though we still don't know why you're here.
I was here to stop Jasper getting killed, I'm sure.
Careful, Black. You're dealing with raw theory. Pay attention to the facts only. You risk imminent corruption if you continue this course.
Fuck you, Red. I know why I'm here.
This is a particularly interesting part of the level as well. Because you can tell from this sort of stuff that everything's a little bit wrong here.
Yeah, I definitely heard gunshots. Well, I heard loud bangs. I guess they were gunshots, because the guy was shot, right? Anyway, I was out walking Cujo, my dog, at around 5 a.m. My wife's a heavy sleeper, and Cujo's always needing the shit in the morning, so, yeah, sometimes I take him out for a walk. So, yeah, I was walking down Pump House Lane and into the fields when the shots were fired.
But this is all pure, as we had mentioned, pure war theory. No real memories here. The Pandora's having to kind of construct this based off the panic thoughts of Cole Black. He's not quite sure what's going on, so neither quite is the Pandora, so he's just kind of throwing together all this evidence from the police investigation, hoping it can find any kind of useful link. But as we have mentioned, this is a very dangerous path to go on. Because as you can tell, this level isn't making much sense right now. The actual facts of the case are starting to become blurred and compromised. And apparently misspelled. I don't know if that was an intentional thing, maybe the typist screwed that up, or maybe just a bad texture, but that's a really big misspelling to have missed. Because it's right there in a heading 2 font. I think they'd have noticed that. There's more information on our friend Jasper Prado. Including his car. I quite like all this evidence, even though it's irrelevant to the case at hand, because it's all just other bits of criminal record stuff relating to Jasper, that kind of thing. It's very, it builds a picture of who the guy was, and that's an interesting way of telling the story of his character. This is really out of place.
What's your problem? I won't tell you where I am. You need to back the fuck away now. This is out of your hands, and there's nothing you can do about it. So leave me the fuck alone and just let this run its course.
Quite that anything conversational, Black's memory turns into a actual, or at least the Pandora turns into a cassette tape. It's like, it can't really, like, render the phone or anything like that. It's just kind of replacing it with a placeholder, probably to save processing power. I mean, it's largely for the developers in this game to avoid wasting resources, modeling things that would only appear in 1 or 2 places. Yeah, it's fragmented police station too. But it's a very nice kind of storytelling device, and the Pandora gives it a good excuse for happening. Yeah, Bart Fair's gone missing. Guess we'll find out more about that later. Yeah, you can't go through that way. You want to be careful in this game when you're trying to go places you're not sure if you can get to or not, because I have had times in well, at least one level where I've got a little bit stuck on the geometry. The game isn't without its bugs. I've had to reload from a checkpoint when that happened. As you can see, parts of this warehouse are now just starting to coalesce. Whether they're meant to be there or not, they're just showing up.
Black, I've been reviewing the data. Though you've been thorough in gathering evidence, your pursuit of supposition has sadly rendered this investigation useless. I'm pulling you out.
No, Red, not yet. I'm so close.
At this point, as you can tell from what Red just said, Black is fully in conspiracy theory mode. He's not thinking this through at all. He's panicking. Throwing up any correlation his brain can find between anything. And that, again, this is dangerous what he's doing right now. Yeah, that's become physically dangerous, so I quite like this fight. This is a pretty neat visual where like all these guys keep splitting into two whenever you kill one, because of course they're not really here and never were.
Enough now.
I'm pulling you out.
You pulled me out.
Like I said, you began making assumptions.
The Pandora is neutral.
Black, and so must you be. Maybe you really were there to save Jasper. But the moment you assume that
To be true, you corrupt the simulation.
simulation and cast doubt over the memory. If you continue to do so, we will not be able to proceed.
Maybe I don't want to proceed.
Oh, I think you do, Mr. Black.
You wouldn't be here if you didn't want answers.
I quite like this little like weird whooshing loading screen kind of a thing between the levels. Like, that's a pretty cool way of showing the Pandora's not quite functioning properly for that level. It's having trouble.
Let's try a different approach this time, Black.
Different how?
I'd like to try starting...
Before Prado was killed.
You want me to try again? To save Jasper?
I don't want you to try anything, Mr. Black. Everything is prepared for you. Just relax and explore.
Yeah, sure.
That kind of reminds me storytelling-wise of Soma, because the main character doesn't quite get what's going on, but the player and the narrator do. I'll see you next time, though, as we continue to explore. Goodbye.